Patrick Lee Williams, born August 26, 2001. Today's feature, Patrick Williams, came into the NBA with immense potential, earning him the honor of being selected 4th overall by the Chicago Bulls in the 2020 NBA Draft. At just 19 years old, he embodied everything modern NBA teams look for in a forward: size, athleticism, defensive versatility, and a promise of untapped potential on offense. Standing 6'7" with a 7-foot wingspan and a mature frame, he looked like the prototype of the next great two-way player, someone who could seamlessly transition into a league dominated by forwards like LeBron James, Kawhi Leonard, and Paul George. What made Williams so intriguing wasn't just his physical tools, but also the mystery surrounding his game. Unlike many top picks, Patrick wasn't a college star. In fact, he came off the bench during his lone season at Florida State, yet still managed to become the ACC Sixth Man of the Year. Scouts praised his efficiency, defensive IQ, and a poise that was before its time. Analysts spoke about how his limited role in college may have masked his true abilities, creating an interesting what-if scenario for teams. The Bulls took a swing on this potential, betting that he could develop into a foundational piece for their franchise, a decision that came with significant expectations. Fast forward a few years and Patrick Williams is still a player full of potential, but potential alone doesn't win games or justify a high draft pick. Through his first few seasons, questions have emerged about whether he can take the next step to become the player many envisioned, as he still looks similar to the player he was in his rookie season. His flashes of brilliance have been overshadowed by long stretches of passivity, better players around him, and inconsistency. For every glimpse of lockdown defense or a confident pull-up jumper, there's games where you hardly notice he's on the floor. He's in his 5th season now, and many are wondering what's holding Patrick Williams back. His basketball journey was filled with promise as an amateur prospect, but for these reasons, his NBA career hasn't gone as planned. Whether it's a lack of aggression, struggles adapting to his role, or another element entirely, something is hindering this once highly touted prospect from blossoming like he has the tools to, causing him to look like a project that may never pan out, and many to ask the question, is Patrick Williams a bust? What happened? Let's talk about it. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth. Let's get it, man. Take a minute to like, subscribe, and comment on who I should do next. Patrick Williams is a 6'7" power forward, small forward from Charlotte, North Carolina, who was a standout athlete at West Charlotte High School, where he dominated opponents with his size, athleticism, and versatility. By his senior year, he was ranked as a top 30 recruit in the nation, earning offers from several major college programs. Despite not being a top 10 high school prospect, his game exuded potential, making him one of the most intriguing players in his class. Williams committed to Florida State University, a program known for producing long, athletic, defensive-minded players. Under head coach Leonard Hamilton, Patrick came off the bench during his freshman season, a decision that allowed him to focus on his development without the pressures of being the primary option. Despite his role, he averaged 9.2 points, 4 rebounds, and nearly a block per game, earning ACC Sixth Man of the Year. His combination of defensive instincts, efficient scoring, and an NBA-ready body made him a fast riser on draft boards. By the time the 2020 NBA Draft arrived, Williams was hailed as a prospect with enormous upside. The Bulls believed they had found a future star, but has that potential materialized? Stunt number 1, lack of offensive aggression. One of the biggest factors stunning Patrick Williams' growth in the NBA has been his noticeable lack of offensive aggression. Coming into the league, he was touted as a player with untapped scoring potential even with a limited role in college. Scouts envisioned a versatile forward who could develop into a reliable mid-range shooter, a threat from beyond the arc, and a strong finisher around the rim. While he has shown flashes of this potential, those moments have been far too sporadic to make a significant impact. The problem is not his lack of skill, because Williams has the tool to be a competent offensive player. He's shown a smooth shooting stroke, an ability to hit pull-up jumpers, and even some success as a corner three-point shooter. However, his passive approach on offense has kept him from consistently utilizing these skills. Too often, he disappears during games, taking only a handful of shots and deferring to his teammates. For a player of his caliber and high draft spot, averaging fewer than 10 points per game after multiple seasons is underwhelming, especially when the Bulls desperately need another scoring option behind Zach LaVine and Kobe White, DeMar DeRozan before this season. Some of this passivity can be attributed to his role. On a team with established stars, Williams hasn't been asked to be a focal point on the offense. But the great players, especially high draft picks, find ways to impact the game regardless of their role. Williams often appears hesitant, lacking the assertiveness needed to capitalize on scoring opportunities. Whether it's a reluctance to take his man off the dribble, finish through contact, or create his own shot, this mindset has stunted his development into a reliable offensive threat. For Patrick Williams to shake off the bust label, he has to step out of his comfort zone and embrace the role of a more aggressive, dynamic scorer. Until this, his offensive game will remain a question mark. Stunt number 2 struggles to define his role. Another major factor holding Patrick Williams back is his inability to establish a clear identity with the Chicago Bulls. As a high draft pick, expectations were that Williams would quickly develop into a cornerstone piece, a two-way forward capable of anchoring the defense while contributing as a consistent offensive threat. Instead, he struggled to carve out a distinct role, often appearing lost or unsure of how to best impact the game. Part of the issue lies with the Bulls' roster construction. With established scorers like Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, again prior to this season, Nikola Vucevic, and Kobe White, Williams has often been relegated to a complementary role. This has made it difficult for him to find his rhythm offensively, as he rarely gets plays called for him or opportunities to develop his on-ball skills. Around this level of talent, his responsibilities often boil down to hitting open shots and playing defense, important but limited for a player with lottery pick expectations. On the defensive end, where Williams was expected to thrive, the results have also been inconsistent. While he's shown flashes of being a lockdown defender with his length and athleticism, he's yet to consistently dominate on that side of the ball. At times, his defensive engagement appears to wane, making him less effective in high-stakes moments. This lack of a defined role has stunted his confidence and growth. He seems caught between being a high-potential project and a role player, never fully embracing either. Great players, even in less than ideal circumstances, find ways to leave their mark on the game. Williams hasn't yet shown that ability. For him to realize his potential, he'll need to either take on a more assertive role, find a niche or different situation where he could consistently excel. Until then, his identity as a player remains unclear, further delaying his development and giving the illusion he's a bust. Stunt number 3, limited development of offensive skill set. One of the most glaring reasons Williams' growth has stalled is his limited improvement in expanding his offensive game. Coming into the NBA, he was considered a raw prospect with the tools to develop into a versatile scorer. However, after several seasons, his offensive arsenal still lacks the polish expected of a top 5 draft pick, and his numbers haven't changed much at all. The issue isn't just his passivity, it's that his offensive skill set hasn't progressed significantly since entering the league. Williams has shown flashes of potential in areas like mid-range shooting and spot-up threes, but his scoring repertoire remains one-dimensional. His ball handling in particular hasn't evolved to the point where he could create his own shot consistently. This limitation forces him to rely on others to set him up, which makes him easier to neutralize in opposing defensive schemes. Another area of concern is his inability to draw fouls and get to the free throw line. Williams rarely attacks the rim with conviction, limiting his opportunities for easy points and putting pressure on opposing defenses. For someone with his size, athleticism, and strength, this is a glaring weakness that stunts his effectiveness as a scorer. Developing an offensive skill set requires both relentless effort and the right coaching environment. Whether it's a lack of personal initiative or insufficient emphasis on his development within the Bulls' system, the progress hasn't been there. For Williams to maximize his potential, he must broaden his offensive toolkit, improve his handle, develop a go-to move, and learn to consistently attack mismatches. Without these, he risked hitting a ceiling as a limited role player on offense rather than becoming the dynamic force he was projected to be. All in all, is Patrick Williams a bust? I really believe it's too early to say. At 23, he's still developing, with flashes of potential suggesting his story isn't finished. While his growth has been slower than expected, his size, athleticism, and defensive tools remain assets. The key lies in his ability to embrace a more aggressive mindset and expand his skill set. The next few years will determine if he becomes the dynamic player the Bulls envisioned or remains a role player with untapped promise that hasn't come around for these reasons. Salute, much respect. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth, and I'm out.